Hey friends, Chris Maholka here. This next video in my series on practical paint mixing, I'm going to show you how to make a nice range of greens. This will be a basic green, a chartreuse, and an olive. And these can be used not only for painting things like fishing lures, but also in any scenic painting where you're looking for grasses or different shades or tones in a pond setting or that type of scene. What we're going to be using today basically is our yellow and our cyan to make our green. And then we'll also use some black and then later on some magenta. And I'll show you how this all comes together. So let's get started. First we're going to start with our yellow. And we're just going to put a pretty good sized glob of yellow in the middle of our mixing glass. And if you haven't watched my first video in the series, you should go back and watch that. It'll show you the whys and the how-tos of what I'm doing here. And then equal amount of cyan, and I'm just going to mix those together right here in the middle. I mixed a large amount on purpose because I'm going to divide it up and show you how you can change the color range with just some different additives. And what I'm shooting for right here is a nice medium green, and we're going to be pretty close on that, just on eyeballing the colors. We can always add a little bit to it, and I'll show you how that works to alter the color tone. So that's mixed pretty well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to get this kind of centered up here, and I'm going to divide it up into a couple different colors, or a couple different piles rather, so I can show you the different colors. You see the medium green there in the middle. Now if you're doing something like, again, I refer to painting lures because that's one of the things I do and friends of mine do. Now you've got a range of greens, and when you're doing lures and small fish imitations, you want to go from a lighter to a darker, sometimes a slight range in colors. So what I'm going to do in this is I want to take the medium green that I've got over here into a lighter, almost a chartreuse. So I'm going to add some yellow, more yellow to that, and I'm going to mix this, and you'll see this lighten up into more of a chartreuse color as I mix. So there's more of a chartreuse green with our basic green in the middle. Now if I want a color to put on, say, the back of a lure to make it appear more of the back of a fish, and also do like a scale pattern or anything like that, I'm going to want an olive. So to get from our medium green, which I've got divided here, to an olive, I'm going to add just a very small amount of magenta. And if you watch the first video, you'll know that these are cool colors, the yellow and the cyan. I want to dull it down, gray it up. I use the other of the three primaries to do that. So I'm going to add a little bit of magenta and mix. Now this should make it more of an olive. It cools that green mixture down. Now you can overdo it with magenta. You don't want to overwhelm your green. You want it to get to that shade of olive. And that's getting there pretty close. Tip it up so you can see the color range there from our chartreuse to our medium green to more of our olive. But say the olive isn't quite dark enough. You want a darker olive for the back, but you don't want to change the overall color. Then you go to black. We're just going to take a little bit of the black, put it in. It's going to object a little bit. And when we mix the black in, it will darken our olive down without changing the overall tone. So there's a darker olive. Now we've got the range of colors from a chartreuse to a medium green to an olive, all out of the same basic two primaries with a little bit of an added bit to the black. Now for my friends out there that do paint things like crankbaits, that want a nice scale pattern over the back to put a piece of material and spray a pattern, you want a lot darker look for that final coat on the top of the crankbait. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit more stuff here. Black we're going to add to make it darker, of course. Lots of black there. And then we're going to add something new to the mix. This is an iridescent medium. When this is mixed in and sprayed, it gives you a pearl look that a lot of bait fish have on their scales. So we're going to add a good amount of the iridescent to it. And the reason we added the black is not only to tone things down, but also to help counteract this pearl we're putting in to keep your color dark. And we may need to add a little more black to this. We'll see how it mixes. That's going to give us a sparkly pearlescent look. And then here comes the black getting mixed in. That's going to give us that dark look that when you overspray a material, it will give you a nice pattern scale look. So that's how to take your green range into your overspray or your scale pattern range. Simply add some black, some iridescent pearl to it, and you can see the sparkle in that as I turn it. So that's a little extra bonus for my fishing buddies. Thanks for watching, and look forward to the next video.